Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. JC here with another video on Action Taimanin. Today we're gonna talk about everything that you need to know in order to make your characters stronger. But before we start, don't forget to leave a like, share, and subscribe if you enjoy the content. So, with newer players coming into the game and checking how to enhance their characters, I should probably synthesize all the information and all the things that you should take into account when strengthening a character. So let's get started, and we're gonna start with Heaviko. She's gonna be our example. So there's a plethora of things, and I'll try to be as brief as possible on each. So let's get started. First of all, we have character stats. The character stats are gonna be unique to each character, and they're gonna increase the more you increase their level. At some point, you're gonna reach, let's say, a barrier, and to progress, you're gonna need to awaken your character. You see these stars, these 6 stars? You're gonna make them into yellow color. And then, after you complete all of them, you're gonna be level 75. After that point, you're gonna require even more expensive materials, and you're gonna awaken your character, and you're gonna change the color of the stars one by one to purple or pink, whatever this is, and then you're gonna increase your stats even further. And at that point, you're gonna start getting awakening points. But we're gonna get back to those later. So, to increase your stats, you have to level up your character. But that's not the only way to increase your stat. You can also use equipment. There is, of course, weapons. Weapons are going to increase attack and critical damage. Well, critical. The critical stat that is used for critical rate and critical damage. So, there are different rarities of the weapons. And obviously, the higher the rarity, the more stats it's gonna provide you. And you gotta check, because the weapons can be enhanced by having more copies of the weapon and combining them. And the stats are gonna be very different depending on the number of copies that you have. Also, there is the enchantment. The enchantment is a way to use materials to increase the stats even further. This is really useful and really important to tackle high-end content nowadays. And honestly, it has become way easier to get this material, especially this one, thanks to the gold gacha. Though it's still gonna take some time for you to craft all the items required so that you can increase the enchantment level. So everything that I'm gonna mention, just progress little by little at your own pace. That's gonna be the most healthy thing to do. If not, you're gonna get really annoyed. So you can equip up to 2 weapons. While you only get the effects of the main weapon, the sub weapon is going to give you the stats, and that's really useful. So you do want to keep different weapons. You're not gonna main one weapon and that's it. No, you're gonna have 2 weapons. You're gonna want 2 weapons at 5 out of 5 so that you can equip them, and then you're gonna enchant them so that you have even more damage and more crit. And you can see these slots. On the slots, you can equip Magatamas. Similar to the weapons, there are different rarities of Magatamas. The Magatama can also be awakened, and when you do so, you're gonna unlock these effect slots, and you can reroll them so that you get the effect that you want. It is way easier than it was back in the day, but what you want to do is to get damage increase against all enemies, critical damage increase, critical rate increase in some cases. Where is a critical damage? A good critical. I don't have good critical on on SR. That's right. I have them over here. Yeah, critical damage. you want to get damage against specific traits or damage reduction against specific traits, HP increase. It really depends on your strategy. But basically, the one that is going to carry you throughout the game is going to be damage against all enemies. That's the first thing that you want to do. Then, maybe, you go for critical damage, the ones that I have on the top. Critical damage, because that's basically damage against all enemies, but as long as you crit. And then you want to go for anti-traits, but that's going to take a while. The Magatamas not only provide these multipliers, they also provide the stats. Depending on the color, they're going to provide a different stat. Yellow provide crit, blue defense, red attack, and green HP. So, then we have the supporters. Let's go with the supporters. The supporters are gonna be basically the same as the weapons, but they are not going to give you attack and crit. Rather, they give you HP and defense. Again, they have awakenings, just like the characters, and the weapons also have awakenings. And the supporters too, the Magatamas have awakening, everything has awakening here. So, with each awakening, you're gonna increase the HP and defense and the maximum level. So you really want to get these to the max level, and then you want to enchant them to further increase HP and defense. The supporters not only provide stats, they also provide effects. And the one on the main is going to have an active effect that is going to give you damage, healing, an extra passive in some cases. Like, not this one, let's go with ones that pretty easy. Yeah, this one reduces damage taken by 40% while using a skill. So while you have the skill animation, you're gonna have 40% less damage. So that's pretty useful. The disadvantage is that you have to have this on the main. Otherwise, you're not gonna be applying this extra passive. And you have to commit to your active. Honestly, there are some supporters that you only equip on the main because the passive is extra good, like the invincibility supporters. Those are disgustingly good. Even though the effect, sometimes it's good enough, or sometimes it's mid, but the passives can be, the actives can be what change a supporter and make it really good. A great example of that is over here, Spinel, Red Spinel. The passive is a terrible effect, and you don't really care about the number of copies of this. You don't need to have this at 5 out of 5, because the active is going to do everything. And the active, all the effects in the active are gonna be affected by the awakening and the max level of the supporter, not for by the number of copies. This tab over here, well, this section over here is gonna be affected by the number of copies. Do I have one supporter with yeah, this one? So here we can see that I have 30% and 26%, but if I go over here, it's 15 and 13. So the numbers get double. Whenever you see a supporter, basically the numbers, if they are maxed out, are gonna get doubled. So then we have the customs. This is another thing that is going to affect your stats. The customs are going to give you stats, but they cost gems or sometimes real money. And some even you have to craft, and that's kind of difficult, just so that you know. So if you like a character a ton, you maybe want to commit to getting all their customs to make them as strong as possible. Though the custom, having all the customs doesn't mean that you are going to have the most OP character in the game. Basically, effects and natural stats are what's gonna make a character OP. The customs are just an extra, a nice addition, but not really required. Get them because you like the skin rather than because it has great stats. Then there's the stat training. The stat training is unlocked after you finish the skill training. And, well, I guess we have to talk about this step before going to stat training. So, after clearing a stage, you get EXP and skill points. These are the skill points. With the skill points, you can buy 3 things. Skills from your character, which are very cheap and it's very easy to get all of the skills. Then skill training, which takes a little bit of effort. And these ones are gonna have effects on your stats. Whatever your stat is, it's gonna get these effects. For example, in this case, the attack gets increased by 25%. So your attack is gonna do a quarter more damage. Even though your stats don't reflect this increase, the damage you do is gonna reflect that increase. And this increases your critical rate, this increases your cooldown, which is super useful, the damage of the ultimate, the damage of your skills, the damage reduction, which is amazing, this one, and the HP increase. All of these you want to have max out. They are super important. And when you max out those, you're going to unlock stat training. This one is not worth it, guys. It is something Gremory just put to keep our minds occupied and activate that completionist tick that I have, but it is basically worthless. They don't even give you like a 1% increase in damage. I can tell you that basically. It's not important at all. So, I mean, yeah, if you have the extra points, spend them here. Why not? But it is not important. Well, that's basically what we can see on the stat increase on a character. But that's not the limit. There's more. There's more. We can increase the stats on the special activities. So, there is the gym that increases attack, and there is the swimming pool that increases critical. Unfortunately, you always want to have these 3 facilities, the headmistress office, the classroom, and the school field, full. And right now, we don't have enough characters to fill both the swimming pool, the gym, and the 3 must-have facilities. So, yeah, you could fill these 2 up to maximize your damage, but I would advise against that. While the damage is definitely more significant than the stat training, it is still not something that you really have to have max out from the very beginning. Just work a little bit on your account, get characters, and little by little get some characters on the proper facilities to increase the critical damage and the normal damage. That's gonna increase your stats. And well, there's also the formations and the collection. The collection, as you can see, is going to increase your HP. Basically, that was the main appeal of the collection before, but after, it's been a while, but it is still fairly recent. The update gave us the ability to increase our attack based on the amount of copies, of max out copies of supporters that we have. Well, the thing is, if you max out a copy of this supporter, you're gonna get more attack. Like, it's a very small amount because this is an SR, but even IUR is going to give you a small amount. But little by little, you're gonna see that you increase your attack to the point that it is significant enough. So, try to grab all the copies of the F2P supporters given on events. The gacha ones, well, unless you're a whale, just get little by little whenever you roll for a very specific supporter or weapon that you want. And every month they give us free tickets to roll UR weapons and supporters. So you're gonna get a decent amount of supporters over time. Just be patient. What really matters is that you never skip those F2P supporters. Those are the ones that make a real difference. Then there is the armory. The armory is also going to increase your attack stat by equipping weapons that you are not using, because these cannot be equipped by characters. They are here on the armory and they're gonna be locked, I think. Let me check that. I have heavy cover here. Can I equip the weapons? No, we cannot. The summer weapon for Heaviko is over here. Yeah, I knew that was the case, but I just want to make confirmation. So the summer weapon is over here and I cannot equip it. You saw that it was not available on the menu. So whatever you put over here is going to be unavailable, but is going to increase your stats. There are different combinations that are going to increase your stats. Basically, some of the more popular are the demonic weapons, which are given to us through events. And don't worry about the number of copies. You don't need to have this at 5 out of 5. So we have the demonic weapons. We have the gacha weapons, the standard gacha weapons like this one, this one, this one. And we also have the summer weapons, which we just receive a bunch of summer weapons. So you can build your armory. And there's also another one that you can change in order to increase even further the rarity. No, the damage. The damage. Where is it? It's the collection. Ascoboro. Premium Pride. Rarity. No, you know what? I'm just gonna go over here and here. And it's the pack weapons. Yeah, the pack weapons. These weapons are going to give you some of the biggest damage increase paired with some of these that you see on the screen. I don't know the exact combination, but it's gonna give you over 100 attack damage increase. But honestly, in my case, I don't really want to use it because some of those weapons are kinda good. Some are bad, yeah. But the ones that I want to use, I'm gonna keep. So I'm not putting them on the armory. And we have the formation effects. The formation effects are unlocked little by little after completing a certain amount of supporters. So you see that I have 154 supporters that are color green and have every aspect maxed out. Well, that's what unlocks formations. With 25, at the very start you have one formation available. One slot for formations available. At 50 supporters, you have 2 formations available, and at 120 you got 3. And if you have 200 supporters max out, you get the 4 supporters. That's very rarely. Anyways, the supporter formations are gonna be unlocked by fulfilling certain requirements. Number 1, you want to have the supporter. Number 2, you need to awaken the supporter. Number 3, you have to max out the affinity. Basically use it on battle until you get max affinity. And that's only for one supporter. You have to have all the supporters in the formation at those conditions so that you're able to equip that formation. As you can see, I'm still missing 4 formations, which basically it's very normal for people not to have all of the formations. Like I have been working out so that I can have this, but some of the best formations are actually F2P or pretty easy to get. So just ignore the ones that you don't have and focus on the ones that are really, really good. For example, over here, Home Alone, this is a permanent supporter, and event supporter. That you can get nowadays. No matter what, you can get one copy so that you're able to unlock the formation, thanks to the event archive. Then this one is an R supporter, a permanent supporter, and another event supporter. Again, you can get this one whenever you want. And this one, permanent, SR, permanent. Some of the best ones are really easy to get. The only disadvantage is those permanent restrictions, but eventually you will get some copies of those supporters. So just relax and play the game and you'll be able to unlock all of these. At least the important ones. Then, let's see. What else? Am I missing something? Yes, I'm missing something. So, the club. You need to join a club eventually, and the club is going to give you, not the club store, club info, the club buffs. The club buffs are similar to the awakening buffs. Every time you unlock a character, you're gonna get 1 point, and you're gonna be able to activate effects to increase the performance of your team. The performance of every assist support, character, every protect, every suppress. These are for attack, these are for defense, these are against specific enemies, damage against specific enemies. Health. No. Wrong. These are damage increase for specific types and health increase for specific types. Ultimate increase, damage increase, and this one, which is particle drop increase, which is not that great. So be sure to join a club, but that's gonna take some time. You need to increase your rank for you to be able to actually do that. And let's see. After that, back to the character. So we already checked everything on the character, equipment, and also facilities and other functions in the game. But we're missing something, and that's the effects. I have mentioned a little bit about the effects on supporters and also on weapons. Weapons similar to the supporters have passives and actives. Sometimes they don't have actives, and sometimes they don't have passives, but they do have an active. So you have to take those into consideration too. I also mentioned the Magatama effects and the formations. All of those are gonna work multiplicatively on your stats. All those percentages that you see are gonna be multiplicative. So you take your attack stat and then you multiply by this, and then that's gonna be your damage increase. The new attack stat is the damage that you're gonna deal. Well, it's gonna be used to calculate the damage that you deal technically, but potato tomato. Anyways, now we have to check the skills because the characters have different skills and different effects. Some of these skills have different buffs, like this one. Where is it? Octopus Sever. This one is going to increase the damage of the character for 10 seconds by 10%. That's another multiplier. The more multipliers you get, the more damage you're gonna deal. And there's also the pure color skills. The pure color skills have special multipliers integrated into them because they are supposed to deal the most damage. So, Octopus Windmill has a nice base damage, and to compensate for that, instead of providing another damage multiplier, it has a critical rate. Then we have Octopus Slicer. This one is going to have a skill damage multiplier, which is going to increase your damage in most situations. Basically always. And then there's the red one for Hebiko, this is gonna be the critical damage multiplier. As long as you crit with this skill, it's gonna do tremendous damage. But you're not guaranteed. If you don't crit, this is not gonna deal as much damage as it could. Because basically all of its damage comes from the crit. So you have to take into consideration the kind of skill that you're using to deal more damage and to optimize your builds around that. For example, if you don't have good critical rate, this is not going to be useful. But if you have critical rate buffs, if you have critical resistance reduction, that's going to be useful. Critical resistance reduction debuffs for the enemy. And in the case of this one, any damage increase is going to be nice. In the case of the blue one, basically it's guaranteed to crit, so you can just put only critical damage increase and it's gonna work. So keep that in mind. Also check the different buffs and different synergies between your skills so that you can deal the most damage. In the case of Hibiko is one of the, let's say, worst characters gameplay wise, because she doesn't have that much damage increase. Her AoE on the red skill, which is the one that deals the most damage, is atrocious. Her green skills lock you in place and it has a medium duration, which is not nice when you get locked in place. The windmill also locks you in place unless you have the weapon that enhances this. And the damage is okay at best. So yeah, Hibiko really needs a renewal. But even so, we can make this character do damage and clear the newest floor of tower. So first I'm gonna reconnect my controller and I'm gonna clear that glitch. 1, 2, and there we go. And I'm gonna show you what Hibiko is gonna be doing. So Hibiko is gonna use the Momochi weapon to increase the damage by reducing the enemy's defense. Well, technically it's just another damage buff in the form of a debuff, but potato tomato again. Then we're gonna have critical damage increase Magatamas, and we're gonna use the element. The element is another way to get a multiplier, and you'll get it over time, but it's only after you evolve your Magatamas into URs. Then we have attack Magatamas, whatever attack Magatamas, and a weapon. Both 5 out of 5, this one plus 15, this one plus 14. Then Octopus Ink Bullet, Octopus Field, and Octopus Sever. Sever to buff, Ink Bullet to deal damage, and Octopus Field to deal with waves of enemies. We are using Susune because Hibiko doesn't have healing, so we need a way to heal. Since we're using the Momochi weapon, the enemy is always gonna be debuffed, so we get the damage increase. Lily Barretta because critical damage, free critical damage, and Fuyutsuki because there are multiple mobs in the stage. The stats of the customs, the stat training, and let's do the run. Let's see how this character is able to demolish everything. And I do have a couple formations that are gonna help me out with the damage, but we'll see those after I finish with the stage. So as you can see, Hibiko is not one-shotting everything. Yeah, she's not the greatest damage dealer, but she can do the work, and that's fine. That's more than enough. Okay, I'll just go to the sky and deal damage. And then I'll wait a little bit, reposition, and deal more damage. Yeah, the Lich King over here, it's a really tanky enemy. But even so, oh my god, what was that? No! Yeah, I had been very unlucky. I haven't proc all my stacks from the buff. of Fujutsuki. But there. Just a little bit more damage and... Oh, really? Well, I'll just do this and that's gonna keep the enemy in place. And you see the big difference in damage when I crit and when I don't crit. From 500,000 to 24k. Yeah. Wow, there. And I'll use the ultimate just cause. And done. Now I deal with the wave of enemies, ignoring the annoying kamikaze enemy. And then I just go over here. And there we go. Nice, nice, nice. So again, reposition myself, heal myself, buff myself. Also, buffing is super important before you do your most damaging attacks. Come on. Come on! Why won't you? Yeah, there. Finally. And I'm not doing that. I'm not buffing myself the way I should. Okay, just one more. There. Nice, nice, nice. Damage, 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 damage. And done. Finally, I just deal with the human wave. And there we go, nice. Okay. There. And... oh, come on, really? They are really, really tanky. But even Heaviko can deal with this stage. I'm gonna use the ultimate. I'm gonna attack, evade attack, and then attack one more time. Oops. Well, unfortunately, the enemy got invincibility at that exact point, but it doesn't matter. Still dealing tremendous amounts of damage. Yeah, I would have like better crit chance if I had the last copy of my weapon, but it's a permanent weapon. I'm not gonna roll for that one. I'll just wait for it to eventually come. That's how we do with standard weapons. And there we go. Nice, nice, nice. As you can see, even Heaviko can beat the most challenging floor of tower that we have right now. I wouldn't say the most challenging content, but it is a pretty challenging stage. And let's check the formation over here. So we have critical damage on range attacks, we have penetration for range attacks, and we have penetration for assist type characters. It's support, but it's assist because it's the green name. Now we're gonna unequip this and we're gonna use one of the strongest, let's say strongest characters in the game. It is not exactly the strongest, but it's really, really strong. Like, Spinel is way better, but Lina imitates a lot of what Spinel does, so she is also pretty strong. So before we start, we're gonna change the formations to enhance Lina. Lina is a protect type character, so we're gonna omit this one, and we're not going range, so we're gonna omit this one and this one. So what do we have that increases the damage of protect? Critical damage of protect type characters increased by 16, pretty decent. And again, 2 permanent supporters, maximum HP, critical rate, damage dealt, speed, damage or protected characters, damage with melee, this one is really good. F2P, F2P, and permanent. Really, really nice. It's gonna give me 20% damage increase because I'm going melee. Lastly, penetration. A 12% penetration. Well, this one is a little bit more taxing. Limited for character release. These do not rerun. Limited for decisive weapon. This one does get rerun. And limited on a campaign. This one has never gotten a rerun, so yeah. Getting this one might be difficult. Let's see. So, what is Lina going to do? She is going to abuse buffs. And for that, we're going to use the Caja Hirako. This weapon automatically gives a buff, well, basically 2 buffs, to Lina. And we're going to take advantage of that. Then, we're going to use the critical water Magatamas. Critical damage, melee element, and then we have whatever weapon and whatever Magatamas attack. Magatamas on the subslot. Both weapons 5 out of 5 and plus 15. The skills are going to be Banishing, that is the main damaging skill. Cherry Blossom Frenzy, that is the buffing skill. And Blinding Storm to heal. Honestly, I did my original run only with Cherry Blossom. And I am equipping this because I like Cherry Blossom. I shouldn't, but I will. Just this once. Then we have the supporters. The Founding 3, because of the plethora of effects and the ability to give me a buff if it's on the main. Then Anna Rose for the generic damage increase and also giving me a buff. Lastly, Kana, that is going to give me damage depending on the amount of buffs that I have. That's why we use these ones. Then, stats of the customs, stat training, and let's do a run. Okay, so we're gonna start by dodging, and then now that the enemies are gathered, I delete them. Yeah, it is just that simple. Yeah, Lina is one of the strongest characters because she has the same buff synergy as Spinel. Though Spinel is better in my opinion, Lina has an advantage in the form of HP recovery. Banishing, there we go. Nice, nice, nice. I'll just... Yep, no. No, no, no. Well, I'll take advantage of this and I'll just keep increasing my stacks. Because the invincibility enemies are able to get hit. And that increases my stacks. Okay, nice. That he just interrupted my skill. Okay. Well, it doesn't matter. As you can see, it is pretty easy to deal with this one. When you have a really strong character. As I mentioned, not the strongest one, but easy for her to abuse all the mechanics that we have. Then I'm gonna use the ultimate. And there. Oops. Okay. Fine. Just... Oh, it got eliminated before I could do anything interesting. Well. Nice, nice, nice. There we go. Pretty simple. Can I get a hit before? No, I didn't. Okay, 1, 2, and done. Look how I am able to defeat the enemy before it even goes to the second stage. Yeah, that's the kind of damage that we want. So, basically, any character is able to clear any stage. They are not going to perform the same. But the game's not about that. Unless you're going to go to the top of Total War and such. But you can do this with any kind of character. And well, there's also a couple more mechanics, like for example the crests. But honestly, this is a forgotten mechanic. It has different colors and different effects, and if you have the same color, you're gonna get a buff, and you can see the kind of buffs that you're getting on the loop. But you cannot craft these ones. You have to roll for them. You get randomized effects. They are not always on the best level. So yeah, that's why this is such a forgotten mechanic. If Gremory gave us an update where we can adjust these and roll for different effects, then we would use this one. But for now, it is just forgotten. And there's also another thing that I haven't mentioned, and that is the synergies between teams, because there are some stages where you're gonna use teammates, and then effects that affect the whole party are gonna be really impactful. Like, let's say Lapis. Lapis is one of the greatest healers and supporters on green. With moral boost, she's going to give an attack buff on her AoE, so that's gonna be useful. And there's also supporters that give damage increase to the whole party as long as you fulfill certain requirements, so keep an eye on that. And well, if you want more information on how the stats actually work, I have a video on that. I'll be linking it to the very end of the video. And well, that's about it, guys. I hope you find this useful. Let me know in the comments if I forgot anything, and please be sure to share tips and share your builds here. And if you have any other requests of something that you want to see in the future about different videos, different topics, let me know in the comments. So anyways, that's it for today. I hope you find this useful, and I'll be seeing you next time. Bye!